What's going on, everyone? Happy Saturday to everyone. Hopefully everyone is doing well, staying safe, healthy. If you had to take a test for any of the viruses going on out there right now, hopefully you have tested negative. If you did test positive, I hope you have a full and speedy recovery with no long-term issues. It is time now for the Saturday edition of the Pandemic Update for Saturday, November 25th, 2023. First off, if you're new to my channel, welcome to my channel. This is where we do the daily pandemic update on, yes, that pandemic, COVID, because it is still a thing. But we do talk about other viruses as well, such as flu, Mpox, RSV, you name it. There's a lot of different viruses out there. And today we're going to talk about several of them. But first off, we have to talk about this up in Canada in relation to COVID. This is really bad. A friend brought it to my attention yesterday. Royal Canadian Navy, due to a significant number of COVID cases on board HMCS Harry D. Wolff, the command team has made the decision to cancel the remainder of their scheduled Great Lakes deployment, which includes the planned activities in several different places. And then we come down here, we have to go down to the third tweet in this, and it says, HMCS Harry D. Wolff will remain closed in Montreal today, meaning yesterday, closed to the planned targeted tours and closed to the public. HMCS Harry D. Wolff will return to Halifax tomorrow, meaning Saturday. Today is Saturday, to contain the spread of the current COVID-19 cases on board. So, yes, and it says here all preventative measures to limit the outbreak have been taken in accordance with Marland's prevention mitigation of respiratory illness. So, yeah, this is pretty serious that they have to do this. But again, we know COVID's out there. We know COVID's rapidly increasing in the U.S. and in Canada, and there's also outbreaks ongoing throughout the world. So this is something really serious. Something else that is starting to gain a bit of steam is flu. And we have multiple things to talk about in terms of flu. First off, Los Angeles County, California confirms their first flu death of the 2023-2024 season. Then we come over to this. Flu claims first child death in North Carolina. So yes, there is now the death of a child in North Carolina. And also, this is the 6th flu death so far this season in the state of North Carolina. Then we move on to Mpox. But before we do that, I just want to say this real quickly. We're talking about seasons with flu. Well, here's the thing. While flu has, right now they're saying 2023, 2024 flu death season, there may be a season for flu. A flu death can happen any time of the year, but they don't happen in high numbers outside of winter. COVID-19, however, it happens any time of the year for deaths. And we've been seeing a lot of COVID deaths all year round. We actually just had a really high death wave from the summer outbreak of COVID. It started coming down a little bit, but it's still over 1,200 deaths. I believe it was 1,283 the previous week. So, yes, you get the point that I'm making here. While there is a season for flu deaths, COVID deaths have no season, and they happen all year round and in high numbers. Now moving on to Mpox. Speaking of deaths, unfortunately, some bad news about Mpox. Mpox kills 600 in largest ever DRC outbreak. So Dominican Republic of Congo is having a really bad year for Mpox. Nearly 600 have died of suspected Mpox in the Dominican Republic of Congo this year, with a further 11,988 people infected, in which is the nation's largest outbreak ever. So this is not good whatsoever. And it's something we're going to keep watching because Mpox is still out there. You may not hear about it in the news much anymore, but it is clearly still out there. We've seen a few cases here and there in the United States. I haven't heard anything about any Mpox deaths here in the United States. All right, we have to talk about yet another virus. And this time it has to do with RSV, or what we believe may be RSV. It's not actually confirmed. This is from Adam Joseph. Now, if you don't know who he is He is a television meteorologist on our ABC station here in Philadelphia. And I thought I would share this to bring some awareness about what's going on out there right now. Let's back up before we share this. He did have a case of COVID a year or two ago. There was COVID in his family, unfortunately, and he actually had the pink eye symptoms. But he did have a case of COVID. Fast forwarding to now, he put the other day, this was on November 20th at 1:13 p.m. I'm heading home very soon. I'm battling this chest cold for almost a week. Let's continue on here. Then he puts on November 21st. Tea and honey, lots of ginger, sleep, Mucinex, neti pot, cough drops, nothing works. 7 days of a cough and little to no voice. Saw doctor, no COVID, no flu, clear lungs, breathing with ease. It's a mystery, begged for steroids. Need a voice for our big 6ABC. They had the Thanksgiving Day parade, and I'm not going to show you that much. You can probably see it here on the right. Yes, he still participated in all these activities, despite having this, quote, mystery virus. Let's continue on. Now we come to this. This was just yesterday. Back to doctor again. Probably overdid it yesterday, meaning Thanksgiving Day, on day 10 of illness, and had worse symptoms this morning. Figured coughing up discolored mucus with blood. Yeah, this is not good. And it is not a good thing. Hopefully, he will find out what this is, not COVID. But then you come down here, someone mentions RSV, and there were a whole bunch of comments that mentioned RSV, and he suspects it's RSV as well. Don't know. I will keep you posted on this one. But the point is, he did have a case of COVID 2 years ago. And as we know, many studies show, if you've had a case of COVID, your immune system is not as strong as it used to be. And any other virus you get can be awful, more awful than usual, and last a bit longer than usual. And that seems to be the case as to what's going on here. I'm just speculating. Alright, continuing on now. I thought I would share this with you as well. Over half of vaccinated adults who haven't gotten the new shot cite not being worried about COVID-19 as a reason for not getting it. Now, let me just clear the air about something right now. I have yet to get the new booster shot. I'm going to get it very soon. I've just been busy. My plan is to get the Novavax shot, and I hope to get it as soon as possible. Continuing on with this. Percent who say the following is a major or minor reason why they have not gotten an updated COVID-19 vaccine. First off, you are not worried about getting COVID. 52% said that. I mean, like, really? That just shows you how much people are uneducated, misinformed. It just shows what a horrible job our government, our CDC, HHS, the media, everyone is on not raising awareness about all of the complications that could come with a COVID infection, whether it be during the infection or post-infection. There's a lot of people with long-term issues. And I think one thing we can do, you know how they show the lung cancer commercials, AdSense, or all these different ad councils, I think that's what I'm thinking of. You know how they show that stuff? I think they should just show it, lay it right out there in advertisements. People who have had COVID and now have long COVID. And I think that would hopefully help raise at least some awareness as to what can happen after a COVID infection. I mean, it's really serious. And they also need to be showing the death number still. I mean, it's time. Each week the news needs to be saying, hey, we lost this many people again to COVID this week. Continuing on. You are too busy or have not had time to get it. 37%. Unfortunately, that's me. Ugh. But I really do need to get it. I'm dead serious. I really need to get it. You are waiting to get it at a later date. 32%. You had bad side effects from a previous COVID-19 dose. 27%. And to those 27%, if any of you are watching, Novavax. From a lot of comments, a lot of things that I read, people are not having severe side effects with Novavax. You can't afford to take time off work to get it, 16%. You recently had COVID, 14%. You haven't been able to get an appointment, 13%. Your doctor told you to wait or not get it. 11%. All right, moving on. Let's take a look at some air qualities. Here's the air qualities that are going on in the United States today, and really, it is not terrible except for the West Coast. Look at this. Reds galore, and there's multiple reasons. A lot of people use their fireplaces this time of year. Maybe there's still some wildfires going on. It all equals bad air quality. Still slightly bad in the southeast, and we see these random spots continuing on here in the northeast. I think these are sensors that just run high for some reason. I can tell you for a fact, this one near Lansdale, Pennsylvania, every time I look, it's always high. I think that sensor is just faulty and needs to be replaced, but you're seeing a lot of yellow, even some orange in the southeast. It's not great, but it's not the worst. It's just poor air quality. And I don't know what the cause is for that right now. Whether there's a south flow, maybe presenting some moisture in the air, which is making more condensation. It's hard to say what the deal is for that. All right, continuing on now. Walgreens this week is at 27.8%. The prior week was 27.3%. That's a 0.5% increase. Total test was up. I suspect next week we may see it being down because how many people are actually getting tested over this holiday weekend? We'll have to see. I don't expect to see widespread red. I mean, we're going to see some red, and with testing being down, that actually could cause positivity to go up, but I'm not expecting to see any fully accurate data next week. The following week is going to be a little bit more of a true test as to what's going to happen. If we do see a lot of red, part of it will be because cases are going up, and second off, because testing, you would think, will be down, but we'll see. Maybe Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, a lot of people went to get a COVID test. We'll just have to wait and find out. Tomorrow, we're going to have our wastewater update. We're going to be using the wastewater scan site. We're not going to be using the CDC site this week, simply because that has not updated. I can show you the variant proportions here, though, and this is rather important. HV.1 is the leading variant at 29%, EG.5 at 21.7%. Now, moving on to this, I wanted to show you Philadelphia's EMS numbers. Still has not come in. Let's refresh this. Nope, it is still not in yet. So hopefully, at some point today it comes in. And like I do almost every day, I will retweet it. We can do a live looking at the Philadelphia suburbs. Montgomery County, not bad right now. Chester County, however, I do have to refresh this. Yep, this is still correct. Chester County is really, really busy right now. I'm seeing multiple sick person calls. I see at least 4 respiratory calls, heart problems. Yeah, it's not a good morning in Chester County right now. New Jersey, some more hospitals came in. 67 out of 70 are reporting 461 hospitalizations. They did correct the data like they usually do, and their hospitalizations are actually dropping slightly. We suspect next week they will start to rise again. 15 people on a ventilator, 50 people in the ICU. All right, New York State cases, it's the same. It doesn't update over the weekend. 2,119 cases, but I did want to show you this with the hospitalizations. Here is a bit of a zoomed out view for hospitalizations. So November of last year, we're at November 25th, and November 25th of last year, they had 2,887 people in hospital. Let's fast forward to today. It's 1,204. Now you're thinking, see, we told you COVID's no longer a big deal, blah, blah, blah. Ha. But stop right there. It's a big problem. I know several people who have had to go to the hospital for different reasons over the past year. Yeah, they had to go to the emergency room. They weren't necessarily admitted. Hospitals are not always checking for COVID anymore. And all of them said to me, no, they never ran a COVID test on me. They never checked to see if I had COVID. And this is true. You can look it up on, do a Twitter search of some sort, and you'll find this out real quickly. A lot of hospitals are not testing for COVID anymore. Not like they used to. I don't believe they're required to anymore. So that could be part of the reason why New York State numbers are actually lower now. And also, it's just at the beginning stages of the winter wave. You have to understand something. The summer wave, you can see it peaked on October 2nd is where it peaked. Well, let's go flashback to summer of last year, where there was actually a peak in the middle of summer. That started going up earlier. Then there was another wave that happened in the fall. And this year, instead of two different waves, it was just a really long wave that started in July and went all the way up until October 5th or October 2nd, where it peaked. And it has dropped some, but now New York State's starting to go back up again. All right, briefly taking a look at some international numbers. And this is where things get a little bit interesting. When we take a look at worldometers, we start to note here that they always do the weekly case change and weekly death change. It's only down by 20%. For some reason, that number never goes upward. I don't know why, because sometimes we'll get a lot of countries here that are actually going upward, and at the moment we are getting just that. Russia, cases up 41%, deaths up 22%. Germany, cases up 6% again, deaths up 8%. Australia, not so much about the cases. Yeah, they're down ever so slowly. I don't know if that's believable based on what we have been seeing reports on from Australia, but this very well could be believable. 75 deaths versus 7. That works out to a 971% increase in deaths. Poland, we're seeing bad things there as well. 33% increase in cases. That works out to 9,429 versus 7,068. That's a 220% increase in deaths as well, which is 64 deaths versus 20. Then we continue down here, and we can see Switzerland, 21% increase in cases. New Zealand is actually going down. This is good. 52% decrease in cases, and deaths are down 50%. If you know anything otherwise, if anyone knows anything otherwise about New Zealand, post it in the comments down below. I would like to know about that. Then we come down to Slovenia, where cases are up 35%. No deaths reported there. Sweden does say that cases are down 84%, but I'm not, again, this is another one I question if that's actually correct. And we'll end today on Indonesia, where cases are up 178%. That's because it's 236 cases versus 85. Alrighty, folks, that's all I got for you today for today's pandemic update. Tomorrow we will have the Sunday wastewater update with data from Wastewater Scan and the next pandemic update. As of right now, stay tuned. It could end up being tomorrow afternoon as well if we get any more information about this mystery China virus. But as of right now, the next pandemic update is scheduled for Monday at some point. I will see you all again next time. But before I see you again next time, you have to do me a favor. Hit thumbs up if you like this video. It helps me get more views on the YouTube algorithm. And subscribe down below if you are new to my channel. And of course, if you know anyone that needs to see this content, share it. And if you got any comments, add them down below. I love reading your comments. I will see you all again next time. Until I see you again next time, stay safe, everyone, and have a fantastic Saturday.